beautiful March morning in northern Alberta here, and just missed the sunrise. That's too bad, but I had to go walk back home to get the camera. But I've had requests to do more gear videos on my channel here, so figured I'd do a quick one this morning. Had a long day. Had a friend had a 40th birthday yesterday, so was out late, but still decided I had to sleep outside because guess that's just how I roll. But wanted to try out this new piece of gear. So hammock camping is something that's been a little bit on my mind. Just starting a couple weeks ago, actually. Hadn't paid much thought to it, but after my experience at doing our Wood River expedition there last summer, I realized that especially when you're pioneering a new route or just exploring and bushwhacking, often it's a bit of a lot of extra work to try to find a suitable campsite. Sometimes there just isn't one. We found that out a couple times. So hammock seems to be a pretty decent solution for when you just need to hike till you're out of daylight and then pitch camp wherever you happen to be and still sleep well. So this is a Hennessy hammock got here. Just picked it up at Mountain Equipment Co-op. It's called the Expedition Asymmetrical Classic. It's definitely a heavier hammock than I probably would use on some of my pack rafting trips, but I happened, kind of was an impulse purchase at Mountain Equipment Co-op. The other day I was there for some other things, and this model was a demo, so instead of $200, which it usually is, was on $150 because it'd been used once. So figured, hey, we'll try it out. It's listed at 2 pounds 8 ounces, so it's not bad if you're used to a big old heavy tent, but that's heavier than my ground shelter that I've been using. So quick look at what makes the Hennessy different is the asymmetrical cut here. It's the cut is actually not asymmetrical as much as the tie-outs here, which are actually a real nice idea. Give you a lot more space. You're going to want to lay offset in the hammock to get a flat lay. If you lay straight, even with a structural ridgeline like this one has, you'll end up I'm not sure if you can see that, you'll end up laying a little bit like a banana. But yeah, first overnighter outside here in this, and super comfy, laid flat as can be. The rain fly is made specifically for the hammock, comes with it. So does the snake skins, these are called. It's kind of a light sill nylon here, and they're pretty awesome. I might show you how those work at some other time, but comes with tree straps, and the way they would show you how to do it on the site is to double them up, wrap it around the tree, and then tie it through both of these loops. But they're just too short. That's one thing I'd like to see them come with a little bit longer straps, because these are tiny trees for my standards anyways, but the straps don't have enough to loop around twice like the way that they've shown it. So I know on their website they have a really old video of showing you how to do a lashing, but I didn't do that. I just did just a quick trucker's hitch, and I think they're worried that's going to be harder on the ropes, but I'm like 140 pounds, so I'm not putting a ton of strain on this machine. And it took me all of 2 minutes to throw this up yesterday, so could definitely do it in the dark, and once you got used to it, it's not going to be long at all. The I do like the way they attach the fly here. with just a little movable prusik knot, so you can I can do it with one hand. Yeah. Once you get some tension off, you can just slide that knot. See, it's loose. Then you're back tight again, and yeah, works slick. Then you're supposed to hook this little one to the main line just to keep it from floating too high on you. It was quite windy last night, and yeah, had no problem at all. I had wind was coming from the east, so I tied the one end of the tarp low, so you got good coverage, and then the other end I left high for ventilation, mostly so I could watch the stars, and it's nice. So the fly is kind of cut asymmetrical, like the way the hammock lays once you tighten up the pullouts, and I think some people get larger tarps for these hammocks, because if you're actually camping and you can expect to use that tarp to camp over, obviously that's little tiny. You're not having a ton of room to do much under here. You could, once you put the tie out, you know, and if you put the other end flat, definitely enough to cook under if it wasn't super windy. But in bad weather, I think you'd want a bigger tarp. But it works for what it is, and if you're just going to basically sleep in it because you're bike packing or hiking or whatever, and you're not really living under it, I think it's adequate. You just gotta have to pull it. You can put it right down tight if you needed to if the weather is bad, and I think you'd be okay. This is not the zip model. This is called the Classic because of I think this is unique to Hennessy Velcro opening, so you just slide right in there, and the quilt's taking up half the room here, but yeah, plenty of room. I like the Ridgeline Organizer they got in here. If you're kind of who's worried about falling out of a hammock, this is actually an easy way to go. I'll maybe pull this mat out for a second. Don't even think about it, Blaze. The old dog probably wants to eat my $300 quilt there, but I'll explain more about these in a second here, but hop in and kind of give you some idea. Whoops, it's gonna be awesome filming there, but okay, so when you just get in, you just kind of butt in first, boom, boom, then you're in, and it's really a ton of room. The tie-outs, I actually like them. I think it's kind of worth it. You're not gonna lay like this, you're gonna lay more like this. Then I'm 5'10" about, and got plenty of room in here. I think if you were 6 feet or bigger, though, kind of would consider one of the larger models, just for yeah, a little bit more wiggle room. But I can get a perfectly flat lay like this. The fit and finish of the Hennessy hammocks is real good. I'm impressed with them. The little details they've thought of quite well. Ridgeline comes with a couple little mitten hooks there. You can put whatever, water bottle, stuff like that, anything on it. You can loop whatever you want in the Ridgeline and it'll stay there because of the net resting on it. They got little tie points right on the upper. Can't really see it, but it works, and little tie points in the corners too, opposite of the tie outs. Gives you a lot of options if you want stuff out of your way. I like the Ridgeline Organizer. It's a little pocket here, perfect for a headlamp or whatever, easy to grab. You could also Lark's head your headlamp on the Ridgeline if you want to put something else in there. And I just have my bag for my quilt in here, but pretty good size pocket. Yep, like that. But yeah, the Velcro on this thing, I think it's probably as new as super sticky. It's a little bit annoying if you have pants like I got or something that it's gonna mate with that Velcro, but easy in, easy out. It's really not bad at all. So it's only about -5 at Celsius right now. But probably got about -10 last night, so I figured it was a good chance to try out my quilt because it's rated for like -12 Celsius, and did the job. I got a couple other videos with first impression of this Enlightened equipment quilt. It's called the Revelation, but yeah, it's did really well. One of the things about this Exped Winterlite pad that I was using, you need some sort of insulation in the hammock, especially at this. Even I slept in this in my house the very first night to try it out there, and it was I needed something underneath me even in the house because of the way it'll compress your clothes, or even if you're on a little fleece blanket or something. You definitely need under insulation in a hammock if you're considering that. But this thing here is I think warmth to weight ratio probably can about as good as you're gonna get. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong as far as a sleeping mat goes. This is a down mat by Exped, and it's I think it's rated at a R value of 8. I don't know how objective those things are, but it's definitely super warm. The one thing I don't really like, I wish they wouldn't have saved the extra weight by not insulating these side tubes right here up to there, and this little bit at the bottom from down there down, and a little bit at the top from here up. There's no down in it, so it helps this thing get down to about 16 ounces, which is 16 or 17 ounces, but really super light, considering it's like that's probably 4 inches thick. And you can see the tapering tubes on the side here, but it's because the side tubes aren't insulated, I wasn't sure how it was going to work out in the hammock, because at this point I haven't invested in an underquilt, which is probably the way to go if you're getting something specific for hammocking. But the I-beam construction of this mat makes it's real rigid, so gets a perfectly flat lay, gives you the extra room in the hammock, and it was deadly comfortable. But you could definitely tell where those side tubes would hurt you if you were a little bit wider. If you're a lot bigger than I am, definitely would go for the larger model of this Winterlite mat. This is called the medium, but it's really the small one. They only have 2 sizes, long, wide, and medium. But with a quilt here, because of the way it comes together, you can lay this right flat if it's hot out. That's why I got this one, the Revelation, because it's rated for -12, but I could use this all the way to +20, and I used it in Maui the other day, and it works great. But what I did last night, once it started to get a little cooler, I actually this is buckle there for the strap. I got one kicking around, must be inside, but the kind of like this, but it's more looped, and instead of attaching that around the bottom of the mat, I just clip that right together. So because I'm skinny enough, I can get away with that. That helped get lots of down, and because of the way that I'm laying, I'm really only having these 2 middle sections of the mat that my back is touching, so that kept me from getting on the cold outer tube. If you could tell though a couple times where I touched the cold outer tube, and it definitely is stealing the heat off you. So definitely wish it wasn't like that, but it still works. I brought these the other day, another impulse purchase from Mountain Equipment Co-op, but they're really awesome. I've been using these for everything this week, sitting on them in my chair. They're so warm, and just a closed cell foam, You know, they're about a centimeter thick this way, and weigh a little under 2 ounces, so they hardly notice them. You can lay them flat, kind of modular style, and you know, if you're in a fast and light trip, that's all I would bring for sleeping pad, and it's much better than trying to roll something up and strap on the outside of the pack. That'll just fold up and slip that right inside your pack, put it against your spine, just be so comfortable. So definitely stoked about that. Last night I had brought them to kind of use like this underneath my shoulders. Just some people use a pad extender to kind of keep their shoulders warm, and I did that. It worked super good, even if I didn't it wasn't tight in. I think if I did it again, I'd probably try it like that, just to keep me off that cold outer tube completely. But yeah, would also work good if you have a real short pad and just need to extend it for the feet, or or around the head, whatever you want to do. Super handy. I'm probably gonna bring at least one of those just as a sit pad and as whatever multi-purpose extra insulation. You could actually even if you're on a lightweight pack rafting trip, I know it wouldn't be recommended, but totally could slip this under dry suit or a jacket, cinch it down, and it's got a little extra flotation for those trips where you crossing flat water or something where you aren't able to bring a proper life jacket, but you want a little extra security should you need it. So yeah, I think that's the things I wanted to mention about the gear. If any questions you have, I know it's a bit of a long video now, by all means ask them. Snake skins definitely are the ticket. You just push them down like this all the way to the end, and everything ends up in one piece, and then you're done, so it keeps everything wet kind of in one all together, and saves you stuffing things into a stuffed sack. And I would put those on another hammock. I still think I'm going to probably get a lighter hammock for tripping. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this for whatever, lending out, or just using around home, or if I'm on a motorbike trip, or something where it doesn't really need to be super light. This thing is bomber, and it's really user friendly for a beginner hammock camper, because bug nets, integral, lots of room. The tie outs give you a lot of space. There's really pretty hard to pitch it wrong because of the structural ridgeline. You end up getting the same angle of lay anyways, and yeah, it works good. If you have any questions, let me know.